Hello, welcome back. It feels like ages since I filmed a video. I hope you're all doing well, but most importantly, happy Halloween. Did you hear that? Oh, how weird. Well, what's going on? Is that any better? Ah! You know what? I'm not hating it. Oh yeah. Yes, that's right. Today we are going to be looking at spooky, creepy and weird plants. And kind of cool as well. But mainly spooky, creepy and weird. But first, if you're new here, hi, my name's Claire and this is Yoli. I make videos all about houseplant care, sharing tips and tricks I've learnt over the years to help keep your plants happy and healthy. And I've got 10 weird and wonderful ones to take you through today, so hold on to your houseplants as we enter the darker side of the jungle. I hope you enjoy it. Let's get into it. So, as always, these plants are in no particular order, but we are starting out with one that is very weird, very gothic, and very fitting for spooky season. And it is a begonia hybrid. And this one is the begonia acontifolia cross coquina. And just look at those leaves. I always look at this plant and I think it looks kind of like a beautiful firework. And then if you turn it around and look at the back of the leaves, it's also got that gorgeous, dramatic, red, kind of classic begonia backing. That is what I always think of when I hear begonia. It's kind of the back of the leaves being this kind of maroony, beautiful colour. And as you guys know, I was never a begonia person. I wouldn't say I'm begonia obsessed, but I'm way more of a begonia person than I used to be. And this is one that, if I'm honest, I probably wouldn't have chosen for myself, but I have grown, oh my goodness, I've grown to love this plant so much. And this one was actually very kindly given to me by one of you guys at one of the plant swaps last year. And I've said it before, but it's got such a beautiful story behind it. This one was actually from this person's grandma's garden, who I believe lived out in Spain, and then the actual plant that the cutting was from got stolen, and it was very sad. And then eventually she managed to get a piece of the plant through propagation back to her grandma again. But it just made me feel even more grateful to actually own this plant and appreciate it, and yeah, just be able to enjoy such a cool hybrid, because it's one that you don't see about very much. And I'm actually currently growing this one, as you can see, in a no drainage vessel with semi-hydro, and that has been hands down the easiest way that I found to grow begonia. Begonia as a genus is one that quite likes that. This is the first video I filmed in quite a while and my brain isn't quite connecting. Quite likes a lot of water. That's what I was trying to say. And with very thirsty plants such as begonia, such as alocasia, such as calathea, all of those ones, typically semi-hydro is a really great shout, just because it means that you don't have to water them all the time. They're less prone to issues such as root rot, and it just means that they can lap up all they need with minimal issues, in my experience. And if you're not familiar with semi-hydro, it's basically, it looks like growing in lots of little rocks. That's what it looks like instead of soil. I've made full videos on it, hopefully making it a little bit simpler and better explained, so I will link that down below. But yeah, it's just a wonderful, wonderful plant, and I honestly nowadays do very much to keep it happy. I've recently got back from 10 days away, and there's a lot of plants that I haven't got around to actually even watering since I've been home yet. And this one I can see has still got a water reservoir on the bottom from before I went away, and has remained looking really happy, really healthy, and kind of just fine without me doing anything to it, probably for about 14, 15 days now, which is half a month, which is crazy. So yeah, if you're looking for something very dramatic but fairly low maintenance, when grown in the right way, I would say this can definitely be that plant. And then this next one is a plant that I picked up earlier this year at the RHS Malvern Spring Show, and it is the most gorgeous, most dramatic looking plant. Just look at that. It is the Anthurium Queen of Hearts, and oh my goodness, this one just has the most beautiful, stunningly striking foliage. It's just black and shiny and almost kind of a little tinge of purple in there, but it is just a beauty, an absolute beauty. And I actually stumbled across this plant on the first day of building my show garden in Malvern. I think it was at the Grow Tropical stand, and I saw it and I was like, oh my goodness, what is this plant? I must have it. And so I put it in a little pile, and I was like, at the end of the festival, I will come back and I will get that plant for myself. And this one actually ended up sitting in my show garden for the majority of the time in Malvern. And I think the sad thing is, because we were in this big warehouse building this show garden and this plant was there for it, I think after a week it did suffer a bit. It lost the beautiful big leaf that it originally had. I think it was just too cold. Conditions were kind of fluctuating. It was very breezy, not enough light, all of these things. And there was a point at which I thought I was actually going to lose this plant, and I'm so glad that it is now starting to bounce back. You can see there's a little bit of damage on this leaf, which indicates that perhaps it's getting ready to die back, but this is its newest leaf and it does look really happy, really healthy. I can see, however, that the top of the pot here has got some mold on it, and again, the soil has got some mold on it, sorry. Again, I think because I went away for 10 days, I watered my plants frantically before I left. I think this one is just kind of processing the water and probably lack of airflow because I haven't been opening the doors and stuff like that. I wouldn't personally worry about it at this stage, but I do think I should probably change things up for this plant and give it probably a tower pot and just put some better measures in place to keep the plant happy, because I really haven't done much to it so far. I must say though, it's obviously very resilient. It has bounced back from very bad conditions when I was at Malvern, and it's now living over there on one of my shelves. It does have grow lights, but I would say it kind of gets, I want to say maybe like medium light. It's not uber bright in the spot that it's in. I probably could be giving it a little bit more, but it doesn't, touch wood, so far seem like a super finicky anthurium, and I've had it for about 5-6 months at this stage. And as you guys know, there are some types of anthurium that I really struggle with, and this doesn't seem to be that. So yeah, it's gorgeous, it's very resilient, and so far has just been very exciting to grow. And then I wanted to include this next one because although it's not dark and dramatic, it is skeletal and weird, and I thought very much fit with the Halloween theme. And it is the Euphorbia lactea white ghost. How incredible is this plant? This is one again that was a wish list plant for me for such a long time, and I am so happy to have finally added it to my collection. It's been a fairly straightforward and easy plant so far to grow for me. It is one, however, that really needs very high levels of light. So if you don't have a particularly bright home, and if you're not able to add in a grow light or anything like that, then maybe it's not the plant for you. But I just keep this on one of my windowsills in my living room, and I do very little to it. I water it maybe once a month, and although it's not the quickest to grow, this growing season it has given me a fair amount of growth, and I just get so excited by it. I just think it's so cool. And also the thing that I really love, which it's not doing annoyingly at the moment because I think the light is starting to go. We're heading into the winter months. But when the new growth does come in, a lot of the time it looks quite pinky on top, almost like a bit of sun stressing, which I just think is so cool. I love Euphorbia as a genus anyway. I think it is just such a diverse awesome, awesome genus of plants, and I've got lots that I really love, but this one, it's not just the variegation, it's not just the colour, it's just the whole structure of the plant. I just think it's amazing. The only other thing that I would say for me has been a con of owning this plant is the fact that it is a succulent and it is so prone to mealybugs. I know lots of succulent and, thank you Yoli, semi-succulent plants are very prone to mealybugs, but because this one is so pale in colour, it means that you don't always spot them right away. And there's been quite a few times where I've just been admiring the new growth on this plant and I will suddenly see a mealybug and I've had to treat it several times. So yeah, if you know that you are prone to mealybugs in your home, I would just keep a very close eye on this one. But otherwise, it's just amazing. It's so cool to look at. It's one of the plants that I find everybody comments on out of my friends that is not a planty person when they come round. They're always like, oh my God, what's that? So if you want a plant to impress, this is one that I would recommend. And then this is a weird one that I picked up recently, and I'm going to show you the bottom of the plant first. Look at all of those little babies. This is a saxifraga, which some of you guys have told me is commonly known as the strawberry begonia. And although it's not actually a begonia, as you can tell, just looking at the leaves, there is something very, very begonia-esque about it. And this is the type of plant, or the kind of plant, sorry, that if I had seen, I don't know, a year ago, I would have been like, that's weird, that's not for me. Also, where I'm holding it, and I can't really give you a great view of all of it, I have to put some clips in. But yeah, it wouldn't have necessarily been the kind of plant that had grabbed me, but I think just because nowadays, or at the moment, I'm really loving creating as much diversity as I possibly can in my collection, and texture is something that I always just love when I look at my plants. And this one, when I looked at it, I was like, oh my God, it's so weird and wonderful. It almost reminds me of something you would see in Avatar. And I've hung it by my back door windows just here, and when the light comes through it, it just looks so pinky and oh, just so creepy and weird, but so awesome. It's actually looking a little bit floppy at the moment because again, this is one that I have not got around to tending to since I've been away. But from my research so far, I have discovered that it's a plant that likes quite a lot of water, and bearing that in mind, this hasn't had water in about 14, 15 days and it's doing pretty all right. It does definitely need a drink. But yeah, have not got around to doing that yet. But all of these little kind of plantlets that you see at the bottom here, it's kind of like a mother of thousands plant. It throws out so many little babies, and apparently all you need to do with these ones is literally chop them off, put them on soil, and they will just root straight down. So I think I'm probably going to have quite a lot of this plant at some point. I guess I could always make a really big full mother plant, kind of take lots of the babies and pot them all in together, maybe create like, ooh, well actually that would be a great idea. I was going to say maybe create like a massive long trough planter, and all along the trough planter plant the little babies, and then when they start throwing off these weird, what do you call them, like stringy things, then you can let them all trail down. Oh my God, that would look amazing. Not the most practical thing, I must say, but that would look gorgeous. So yeah, again, it's kooky, it's weird, it's definitely quite gothic and very, very fitting. It's the first one actually I thought of when I was putting plants together for this video. I was like, what a fantastic, weird plant. But yeah, it's early days for me with this one, so stay tuned. I will keep you updated on how it's going, but I want to say so far so good. And another anthurium that I put on this list is this weird and wonderful one here, the Anthurium luxurians. And just look at the texture of those leaves. Isn't that creepy? It's almost reptilian. It's so, I don't know, like almost like 3D printed. It's incredible. And actually in the time that I've been away, it has also put out this new leaf here, which as you can see is coming in really kind of pinky red, and Oh, the new leaves are just so pretty. It makes me so happy to see them come in. I do, as I've said before, sometimes struggle a little bit with colour in my green space. I don't know why. It does something weird to my brain. It freaks me out. It's like it's the only thing I can see, and I can find it like weirdly overstimulating at times. I don't know why. So yeah, if it was to stay like this forever, I'm not sure how much I would love the plants, but for me, I really like the fact that with a lot of new anthurium leaves, such as this one, they will come in this gorgeous kind of dramatic colour, and then they will fade to a nice green. That's like just the right amount of colour for me and my strange brain. But yeah, I got this one when I was living back at the flat, I think about 1.5 years, 2 years ago now, and honestly, I have found it really, really easy to grow. Again, like I just said about the other anthurium, the Queen of Hearts, I have struggled with quite a lot of anthurium within the genus over the years, and this is one that has just been a walk in the park for me. I potted it into this container here, which isn't how I would recommend growing all anthuriums, but some, such as this one, do seem to have responded really, really well. Some anthuriums need way more airflow to the roots, but as I say, this one has been very tolerant and seems happy. But I've just put a layer of semi-hydro leca at the bottom here, and then a chunky soil mix on top. And what I'll do is I'll just keep the little reservoir topped up when I notice that the soil's getting dry, and that does seem to have been a really low maintenance, really easy way to keep and grow this plant. And as I say, it has sized up pretty quickly in the grand scheme of things in the time that I had it. When I first got this plant, I think the biggest leaf it had was about that, and obviously it has sized up dramatically in quite a short space of time. This is also an anthurium that I found, I wouldn't call it a low light plant per se, but out of a lot of the anthuriums that I have grown over the years, it's one that can definitely not just survive, but actually kick out new growth at quite a good rate in lower levels of light. Notice I'm saying lower and not low. For example, again, when I was back at the flat, if you watched my videos then, there was a time where I was growing it just below my TV, which was probably about 2 to 3 meters back from a window. It wasn't getting any direct light, and the plant did seem very happy there, and it did size up. So yeah, it's definitely a resilient one. It's definitely a very hardy one. I must say as well, if you are interested in anthurium hybridization, the luxurians does just make the most beautiful babies. I've got a couple of luxurians hybrids in my collection, and I love them so much because they just, the characteristics they offer the children plants, is that the right way of saying it? Their offspring, I don't know what that would be in planty terms. But yeah, just is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. The texture is the main one, and I think it's gorgeous. It's an all-round beautiful plant. And how could I have a spooky plants video without mentioning this one, the Alocasia Regal Shield. And as you can see, this one is getting so big now that I barely fit in shots with it. It is absolutely huge. And again, in the time that I was away, it kicked out this leaf here, which is beautiful. I absolutely love the dark dramaticness of this plant. But again, if you look at the undersides of the leaves, they're so subtly purpley. They're so pretty. But again, I grow this one next to the window just there. Oh, I'm aware. I lit candles and I don't want to set any of my plants on fire. But yes, I grow it next to the window, just next to me here. And when the sun shines through, again, you can really appreciate all of the colours in the leaves and the veins as well. Like the veins are kind of subtly golden. They're so beautiful. And I've said it before when I was making a care video on this plant, but this is hands down my easiest alocasia. Like alocasia as a genus sometimes has a rap of being, there we go, I'll peer through here, as being quite difficult genus. It can be quite high maintenance, but as I said in that video, which again I will link down below if you're interested, if you do the right kind of things to prep your plant in terms of ways of growing, conditions, substrate, again, semi-hydro is amazing for this one, it really does become such an easy plant. And yeah, I do very little to this plant. I filled up its reservoir before I went away. I've just lifted it out and I can see it's got crazy roots coming out the bottom. I only repotted it very recently, so it's very fast to grow. But yeah, it's fairly low maintenance if you set it up in the right way, because again, haven't done anything to this plant for half a month and it is thriving. So yeah, it's one that I find so rewarding to grow. It's very different to a lot of my other plants, because despite what you may see from this video, dark Gothic plants aren't necessarily the type of plants I typically go for. But I think just, yeah, variety for me is key. And this one is just beautiful. It's just so beautiful. It's also, for me, got a really lovely story behind it. It was given to me by one of the producers on BBC Gardener's World a couple of years ago. It came from his plant and he was like, I saw you've got lots of houseplants, here you go. So yeah, I really cherish it and I feel very grateful for it. So yeah, again, I know I'm saying this about all of them, guys, and I am sorry, but I highly recommend. And I debated whether or not I should include this next plant because it's not looking its finest at the moment. It is one that has really suffered in my time of being away. However, I thought because this was a spooky Halloweeny video, I could be like, aha, this is one for the graveyard. It's not for the graveyard. I will revive this plant, but it is the Dieffenbachia Black Magic. How cool is that name? It's just such an awesome plant. But if you look towards the bottom of the plant, it's got so much growth that is dying off. And this is not necessarily a plant that needs loads of watering. It is one that is typically fine to dry out a little bit, but I'm struggling to remember whether or not I actually watered this one before I went away. This is one that I keep in the hallway. It's not like in this main space with the rest of my plants. And I have a feeling I might have missed it when I was watering. So goodness knows how long this plant has gone without water. I feel very bad about it. But that being said, this plant is more hardy than I am maybe making it out to be. I've had my struggles with this plant over the years. Although it is a Dieffenbachia, and Dieffenbachia is typically a fairly hardy genus of plant, I have struggled with thrips with this plant. Oh my goodness, majorly struggled with thrips with this plant. There's just been little dramas here and there, but each time the plant has always bounced back. Even at one point when I had to chop it back to pretty much nothing, it's still here to tell the tale, even if it's not looking wonderful. So I have no doubt that this plant will bounce back. It's actually raining at the moment, so I think what I might do after I finish filming this is just stick it outside and let it have a really, really, really good drink. And then, yes, bring it back in and attempt, if necessary, to do a little rehab. But the thing I really love about this one is, firstly, the accessibility of this plant. It's not, well, at least here in the UK, it's not super expensive to buy. It's actually a fairly common plant. Like, you see it at lots of garden centres. I think I probably got mine for under £10, which I consider to be quite reasonable. But it's just got these beautiful, dark, dramatic leaves with this long strip of white veination that I just think it's lovely. I think it's so pretty. And I said it in my houseplant tour video, which went up a couple of weeks ago, if you want to go watch that. But I said in that video that as I come down the stairs, this is the first plant I see, and I just love it. I just love looking at it from above and appreciating all of the beauty of its foliage. So yeah, on a good day, this plant is very easy, but right now needs some TLC. Oh, and this is a scary plant for many reasons. It is the Anthurium warocquianum, and oh my goodness, how beautiful. Let's just take a moment to appreciate the beauty of this Anthurium. But it is scary for many reasons, bar just the way that it looks. It is very dark, very dramatic. This is one of the anthuriums that I have really struggled with over the years. I have killed at least 3 of them, and I've really tried. If you've been on my channel for a while, you may have followed my journey with the warocquianum, and I don't want to say, oh God, this is such early days. Basically, in a nutshell, I vowed to never own this plant again, or not never own this plant again, but I vowed to, I guess, just go away and learn a bit more and figure out other types of plants before I tackled this one again, just because I felt so bad that I'd killed so many. The last one that I killed was when I first moved in here, which was about 10 months ago now. I repotted it when I first moved in and I was like, woohoo, new start, new environment, and the plant was dead within a couple of months. However, then I went to Wisley, which is an RHS kind of garden centre, glass house, amazing, beautiful botanical space, and they do have, as I say, a garden centre there. And one of my friends pointed out this little plant to me and she was like, look Claire, they've got teeny tiny Warocqueanums, and it was only about £8, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a go. I'm gonna give it a go. I'm maybe not gonna tell anyone about it, but I'm gonna give it a go. And it's going well. That was a good few months ago now. It's grown a lot. It's sizing up nicely. But funnily enough, in the same week, one of my lovely friends over on Patreon decided to gift me an anthurium Warocqueanum, and I just had this message from Grow Tropicals saying somebody would like to send you a plant, expect something to arrive. And then this arrived and I could not believe it, and still I am so blown away and so grateful, because God, that is so kind of you. It's so kind, and I feel like it was the right time, because I have now got the opportunity to try the same type of plant at two different stages of its life, being the very early kind of almost just out of being a seedling, and then a very mature plant. And I'm growing them in different ways, in slightly different conditions, different positions. And this big one here, I'm currently actually growing in a pond pot. It is full of holes because I know this plant likes airflow, but for that reason, I'm able to water it much more frequently. And so far, so good, guys. It is, I think, going pretty well. And it is currently giving me a new leaf, which I think is going to be a big one. However, it's also starting to give me a little inflorescence just there, which means in theory, I could try pollinating the plant. And it's tempting because I do have pollen. I've got pollen from multiple different types of anthurium and I could give it a go. But then part of me is also like, do I just wait it out and get to know the plant a bit more before I start putting it through that amount of stress and strain, you know? Because when you do pollinate a plant, essentially what you're trying to do is create lots of little babies and get some berries from it so that you can grow loads of the plant again, or like create some cool hybrids maybe. But that does take up so much energy from the plant. So I'm like, maybe it's not the right time. It hasn't fully, the inflorescence hasn't fully come out yet though, so I've got some time to think about it. So let me know in the comments, what would you do? Pollinate, not pollinate? Go on, decide for me and I'll take your advice whichever way it leans more. So yeah, let me know. But I would just say, in my experience, this plant is not a beginner plant. Personally, my experience, you might find this plant really easy, who knows? But I would say this is one not for the faint-hearted, and although it's beautiful and although its growth is very rewarding, it's one that might take a little bit of getting used to. And if you kill one, please don't feel bad, because I've killed many. And I actually wish I was showing you this next one in about a week's time, because it's just about to flower, but it's not quite there yet. And it is the Aescananthus marmoratus, commonly known as the black pagoda lipstick plant. And obviously it's gorgeous, it's very dark, it's very dramatic. And if you look at the back of the leaves, it only gets better. Just look at that. Isn't that absolutely beautiful? Oh, and it's got one flower here that is just starting to open. Can you see that? It's not that exciting just yet, but this plant is covered in little buds all the way down to the bottom here. So as I say, in the next week or so, all of those are going to pop, it's going to bloom, and it's going to look beautiful. So I'll make sure to show you it in a video in a week or so's time so that you can see what it looks like. But yeah, if I just spin it round so that you can see the back of the leaves. oh, they are so, so, so pretty. And this is another really hardy plant that has been through a lot with me. I have had this one for years and years and years now. However, I would say about half of the plant is not original plant. I've bulked it out with cuttings. I actually bought another small plant at one point to pot in with the mother plant just to fill it out of it because it got very, very sparse and neglected at one point. That was when I was living back at the flat, and I basically had this big long hanging rail, which I actually still use in this plant room, but it was on my sloped ceiling. And it meant that every time I wanted to water my plants, I had to get up onto a chair and kind of get them down individually. And it was a lot of effort. And on the days where I was not feeling like doing plant care, my hanging plants were the ones that got neglected. And yeah, this one took a bit of a beating at one point and dried completely out, and I lost loads of the leaves. I can in fact see a couple of dead leaves just there, but I lost loads of leaves and it was looking a bit sparse. However, this plant is hardy as anything. Like, I feel like in some ways it should have died many times over. I have been such a bad plant parent to this plant over the years, and it still typically has remained looking really lovely. Very rarely has it given me issues. I think the only issues, besides the fact when I didn't water it for probably about 2 months, besides that, the only issues I've ever had with this plant have been mealybugs, and I don't know if this is one that's particularly prone to mealybugs. Touch wood, I haven't had mealybugs on the plant since, but it was right next to another plant that I was really, really struggling with, and yeah, I had to chop it back, I had to pest treat it. I was gonna say, did I lose some of the plant then as well? I can't remember. I've been on a journey with it, but yeah, it's one that is more than capable of living and surviving in lower lighting conditions. I currently grow this one in the pot at the base of my bird of paradise, and it seems really happy like that. It hasn't given me any grief. It just remains looking lovely and happy and healthy. And as I say, it's gonna look so pretty when it flowers. Like, almost every node has got little buds popping out of it, so stay tuned and I will show you it when that happens. But otherwise, yeah, it's just a fantastic, fantastic plant. And then another very dramatic looking alocasia is this one. This is the Alocasia sinuata, and isn't that just so pretty? Again, similarly to what I said about the anthurium luxurians, this one almost looks like it's been 3D printed. It doesn't quite look real, does it? It blows my mind that nature can just create such beautiful things, and this plant is just, oh, it's just absolutely spectacular, isn't it? It's so, so pretty. And I always say it, that it's one of the plants in my collection, not that I'm not grateful for all of my plants, because I am, but it's one specifically that I feel quite honoured to grow, because very sadly, this one is, I believe, now completely extinct in its natural habitat, and it's purely cultivated in a home environment. I believe that's just down to deforestation, which is very, very sad. But it does just make me want to kind of share the love with this plant a little bit more. I would also, for that reason, say that if you're someone that's maybe not that experienced with plants, or not that experienced with alocasias, maybe get a few other alocasias before diving in with this one, because I personally would feel so sad if I lost this plant, just because there are so few of them, you know. But it's one that I've kind of struggled with a little bit, more so just because I find that it's a type of alocasia that is very prone to just giving like one leaf at a time, meaning that it's constantly cycling. And actually, although it might look like you're just looking at one plant here, take a guess how many plants are actually in this pot. I'll give you a moment. Let me know in the comments. So, if you said 6, you would be correct. There are actually 6 plants in this pot, and I haven't potted them all up together. These are actually just little corms that have sprouted and I haven't removed. You look at the base, you can see like all of the different points of growth, and that is the best way in my experience growing this plant in a UK home environment to get it looking really lovely and full. Which I don't mind, to be honest. I don't mind growing the plant like this. It does also just mean that because it gives you so many corms, if I do want to like share the love with the plant a little bit more and trade it or swap it or send bits of the plant to my friends, it's very easy to do so because it is such a quick one to reproduce. But it's another one that I'm growing in semi-hydro, as I am, I think, actually all of my alocasia, and yeah, it's just been the best way I've found of growing them. It's made my life so much easier. Again, it's a fairly high light plant. It's not one that does very well in lower levels of light, but I just think it is the most rewarding plant to grow and one that I'm so happy to own. So yeah, those are the 10 that I brought over to show you in today's video. I've had a lot of fun making today's video, if you couldn't tell. So let me know down in the comments below, firstly, which of these was your favourite? And secondly, let me know, let's say, your top 3 spooky plants, either ones that you own or ones that you want to own, or maybe just ones that you've heard of that are weird and wonderful. But yes, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video.
Stay sexy, plant lovers.